Hello, listeners, and welcome to a new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast. This is Anthony L. Wolf, your loyal Indie Diarist speaking, and this intro is going to be a bit different from what you've been used to so far. Mainly because Jay has been so kind as to open up with me and share his story during the course of this episode. And as such, there are a few trigger warnings before we go forward. First off, this episode deals with issues of and topics around drug use, drug abuse, addiction, and recovery, and anything that comes with it. So if you're sensitive to these topics, please feel free to skip ahead or just go to a previous episode, or just feel free to enjoy this episode because it has been a very open and positive chat for us both. That said, I'm no one to say this. I'm not the right person to say this, but if you or someone you know or someone you care about is going through these issues, please seek help. It's so important. And as Jay's story shows, it is possible. It is doable to get out of the tunnel of addiction. So without further ado, let's go into the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast. I'm Anthony L. Wolf, your loyal Indie Diarist and also writer, social media content manager, former games journalist, and a lot of other things that you may already know because I love to mention them in the beginning of these episodes. So, today with me, as usual, is another very special guest from the indie game dev community, this time tuning in straight from the US. Am I right, Jay?
Yes, Arizona.
Perfect. Yeah, from Arizona. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Jay, and tell us a bit about you.
My name is Jay Wesley. I am the lead designer and owner of Mind Over Matter Entertainment. Currently solo developing the Road to Recovery personal 2D adventure game. It's going to be a pretty heavy story-driven game.
Perfect. Tight, concise, what I love. So... Well, yeah, so as the listeners will know, these episodes start with a very light touch. So let's discuss games, because I think we will have something to exchange there. What's a game that you would recommend anyone to play?
A game I would recommend?
Yep.
As far as one like mine or one of my favorites?
What are your favorite ones to play? Well, it could be one of yours, of course, but like if it's...
my favorite game of all time is Doom. Like the classic Doom.
The classic Doom. Okay. Well, actually, I'm reading Masters of Doom right now, which is interesting. Okay. The story about John Carmack and John Romero. Oh, and I can tell from the T-shirt. Well, the listeners won't know because because this podcast is just audio. But yeah, Jay is wearing a Doom T-shirt, which is beautiful from what I can see from camera.
It's custom order.
Yeah. Custom order. Oh yeah, no, that's I can tell your passion for Doom is everlasting, so to speak, and long-standing. So yeah,
I actually run a series of tutorials on YouTube that teaches you how to mod it.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, no, well, I've never got into modding, but like Doom, I know it can run on pretty much anything. It can run on a potato, as far as I know.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what you can get it to run on. Yeah. But yeah, it's super powerful. It's to the point where you can make your own like retro first-person shooters with it, because it's really, really powerful what they've done with it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I can tell. I'm sure a lot of listeners will relate. Doom is just a beautiful game. But yeah, so let's start exchanging a few favorites. So, which games do you remember playing growing up? I suppose Doom will be one. Is there anything else that's stuck in your memory?
Commander Keen.
Oh yeah, well, still from the guys, yeah.
Yeah, the same guys. It's I really, really love the id Software and Apogee games, those older ones like that. You know, yeah, Commander Keen, the old side-scrolling Duke Nukem, Monster Bash, games like that.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, I remember playing a lot of platformers myself, side-scrolling platformers, but like
where a lot of the inspiration for this game comes from.
Exactly, yeah. It was a bit later on though, like during the 90s, because my very first gaming console was a PS1. So I played a lot of those, like Mickey Mouse and all of them, and then later on I started looking into the origins of that genre. But yeah, beautiful stuff. But yeah, so I think we can move into a few more deeper questions in terms of development. So what's the story behind your studio coming to be, and what is your story?
Let me see here really fast. So Mind Over Matter Entertainment and the game actually all came to be 230 days ago.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I had a pretty serious drug and alcohol problem. I went and got myself cleaned up, and the entire time I was in rehab, I was coming up with the idea for the company. I had the idea for the Road to Recovery, the game itself, done. I had a basic logo done and kind of a general idea of where I wanted to take it. I know I wanted it to be a 2D platformer and everything, but while I was in rehab, I was jotting down ideas, kind of the direction I wanted it to go, what I was going to name the company and everything. And it's just kind of skyrocketed from there and just kind of built. Yeah, 230 days
Yeah,
is where we're
well,
sitting at right now.
yeah. I mean, there's a host of powerful messages in your game, even just from the demo alone. From what I could see, there's a strong message about resilience, selflessness, self-love, even, and that's just from the demo itself. So I don't know about the rest of the game. It's going to be possibly just as powerful. But why do those messages matter to you?
Well, it's like you said, yeah, it's self-love. I want this game to show people that there is hope. Like, it is possible to recover or get through whatever you're going through. It's not, while the game does primarily focus on, addiction and stuff like that, there's other themes. I mean, you played the demo. There's other themes it's going to touch on that you can be like, oh, wow, I can get through this. It's going to be okay. It's going to be hard, but obviously, yeah, that demo was a nice little, more of a kind of a proof of concept kind of thing.
I like the fact that the demo starts with you being, in your own apartment or house and whatnot, and then as soon as you go out, you start helping people, and you start wanting to go on a journey to, well, possibly a path to recovery, as the game itself says. But it's just this determination that the main character has, which is just really great, and I think it does come through. What was your biggest source of inspiration for your game in terms of maybe other games or art or things that you've seen around?
I don't know if you've ever played Thomas Brush's games like Never Song or Pinstripe.
I know what they are. Haven't played them though, yeah.
His art style heavily influenced this.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I really, really like his games, and especially Never Song has a really, really deep story that I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Thomas Brush is a name that comes up pretty often in these episodes.
Especially in the indie scene. Yeah, he's a great guy. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah. No, he's got some amazing videos and always approach to making indie development your full-time job and all of that. It's just so inspiring. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, but I'm curious about another thing at this point. So, why are you a game developer specifically? Like, what is it that drives you forward? Why did you choose to do a game to tell your story?
So video games are something I've always kind of wanted to make my whole life. Like when I was, 3 or 4 years old playing games like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, I was always like, man, it would be really cool if I could like make something like this on my own. And over the course of the years, I taught myself how to code. I taught myself how to like make art in Photoshop. And then, like I said, once I got myself clean, I really was like, I think I want to dive in and really do this and see if I can. And here we are.
Yeah, well, I think it's going really well so far. So yeah, and at what stage are you in the development of your game? Do you think it's almost there? Do you think it will still need quite some time to become complete, or?
So you've been watching me on Twitter.
Yeah.
I was kind of pushing out the thought that I was going to release a demo here very soon, but I sat down with my composer about a week ago, and we came up with probably 3 or 4 new tracks for the game.
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah.
And we sat down and discussed some more ideas for Ash's story. The intro is going to get completely redone. So there's a lot of ways that the game has evolved. So I've kind of, rather than rushing it out, I'm going to kind of like polish it up and make it a nice, good story. So I don't really have a deadline when it's done.
Yeah, well, that works for you. That's perfect. I mean, you do the game you want to do, and you tell the story you want to tell. So absolutely,
it's evolving and it's working really well. And yeah, like I said, yeah, when it's done, when I feel like it's what I want it to be,
yeah,
I will release another little demo, because there's new game mechanics I've added, like snacks and water bottles and stuff. that can fill your energy bar. The energy bar was useless in the demo, but now you can run.
Great. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Also, I remember that. Well, I suppose that was, if I remember right, it was like the pre-alpha or something like that. The demo that I downloaded. So I suppose animations will be polished. Will be more polished now, and everything will feel a bit smoother. So yeah, it's looking forward to trying that one out. But yeah, going back to the key message of the game. I think you already said this, so you probably already answered this question. But if there is one key message that you wish every player got from playing your game, what is that and why?
If you or someone is going through a problem with addiction, recovery is possible. It ultimately boils down to the person wanting to change. There's nothing you can do or say to this person that is going to make them get clean. It ultimately comes down to them, but it is possible.
Well, I don't personally know someone who's struggled with addiction and all of that, but I do know some people who struggle with toxic relationships. I think I can see a pattern there. Like you can only get out of those if you have a will to change, even though you want to maybe discuss with your friends all the problems, but if it has to come from you. So I think you have a point there, even though your experience, of course, is completely different from mine. Now, well, I suppose it's you mentioned you're working with a composer, and do you work with other people? Do you work alone on your game?
So it's all me. I do the animation, I do the programming, I do everything except the music.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you ever feel lonely or discouraged as a solo dev? And how do you cope with that?
There are days where I'll be working on it, mainly because of the subject matter. It does bring up a lot of emotions, but I've learned that you just have to deal with it. You have to go through the emotions and you have to live through them. Because it gets better. It gets better if you allow yourself to sit through the emotions, and being able to tell this story, I think, is going to help others too.
Yeah, I feel you're using developing the game as a catharsis. Like you want to reach the kind of point where you're coping with those emotions, that you're actually learning from them and all of that. So it's very commendable in you, and I love that and love to hear that. Well. Let's play a little game here, I suppose. Imagine writing a letter to yourself, but 10 years younger. What would you say?
Let's see, that was about when I started to fall down the rabbit hole.
Oh, I absolutely didn't know. So yeah.
Yeah, 10 years ago. That was probably when I started to really experiment with drugs and stuff. So that was probably the darker time. So I'd be like, hey, why don't you focus on your computer stuff a little bit more and not so much getting high?
Yeah, well, that's sound advice, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what if we turn it the other way around instead? Imagine you are 10 years older and writing a letter to yourself now. Actually, no. Let's imagine you're writing a letter to yourself 10 years older. What would you like that future person to know and remember? Possibly.
I just stay the course, man. I mean, it's kind of where I am right now. It's like, just stay the course and take it day by day and see what happens. Like what I'm doing right now is working. So I just keep going. It's all I can do is keep fighting every day.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I don't even think about drugs or alcohol anymore. The first 30 to 50 days was kind of like, ooh, but it's not even a thought that crosses my mind anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd rather just work on my game and help others if I can.
Yeah, and I think that's a great mission, great vision, and all of that. So I'm sure a lot of listeners will resonate with your commitment to your game. So, well, let's say it's been kind of a shorter episode, but I think it's a great one. So to wrap it up, let's shout out maybe to other game devs or games you admire. I suppose you mentioned Thomas Brush already. Is there anyone else from the indie game community, maybe on Twitter, that you would like to mention?
I forget what his name is, but he made Biosynthetica. That's a really, really cool little game.
Biosynthetica. Okay, let's find out right now. I suppose we can.
And then Seed of Life too. That's a really interesting looking game.
Seed of Life? Oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
follow that guy or person.
He's really cool.
Okay, so for Seed of Life, the handle is key3_ so KI3 _ Seed of Life, all one word. And yeah, I do recommend following this profile because basically they're developing a story about an old school action adventure game where you play as a young wolf spirit called Hope, where you must restore the natural order. So that's definitely someone worth following on socials if you're not yet. Okay, well, where can other people find you? And if they do, how can they best support you? What's the one thing that you wish everybody did once they listen to this episode?
So you can, where I post most of my updates is Twitter, at Mind O Matter ENT. So Mind Over Matter Entertainment, but Mind O, the letter O, Matter ENT.
Perfect.
Is where I keep all my frequent updates here on Twitter.
Yes, and also Jay is very active on during Wishlist Wednesdays, Trailer Tuesdays, Screenshot Saturdays. You've posted under my post a few times.
Follow Friday.
And follow Fridays as well. Yeah, I do get mentioned in those too. I should start doing them actually because some of my guests are really great people, so I could highlight the guests of the show.
Follow Friday really brings the community together. It's impressive. It's really cool.
It is really impressive, and everybody mentioning things about their own games and all of that. But yeah, it's just great. Well, what can I say, Jake? Thank you so much for your time on this for this episode. I'm sure it's going to be a great one once I start editing it, and the listeners will appreciate. I hope you will get some more followers on your page and some more people to support you on your journey, because your game, from the demo that I played, it definitely has some potential, and its message will deeply resonate with some people. I'm pretty sure you can help some other people get through some tough times. So yeah, it's been great having you here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you, trying out my demo, and just, stay tuned. I would maybe say a month or two. I'll probably have another demo ready for you.
Perfect. Okay.
If I can ballpark it, let's say a month or two.
Perfect. So probably by the time this podcast comes out, there will be this new demo. So that's amazing. I can put the link in the description. Oh, and of course, I will put links in the description for the listeners so that they can follow you on socials more easily. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely link my official website too, if you could, mindovermatterentertainment.com.
Perfect. Yeah, that will do too. Alright, and that's a wrap on this new episode of the Indie Diarist podcast. Thank you so much for listening. What can I say? It was such a powerful episode, and I'm so grateful to Jay for wanting to share his story with me and with you all, of course. So, if you did enjoy the episode, please follow Jay on social media so you can follow his journey as he works to release his game. If you're a developer yourself, please get in touch. I'm always looking for new guests to feature on the show, especially if you guys have a great story to tell. You can support the show by following just the Indie Diarist on social media. Right now, I'm just on Twitter at the Indie Diarist. More ways will come to support the show and me, as I'm the only person working on this in the future. But for now, that's it. So, until next time, speak to you in the next episode of the Indie Diarist.